Hello and welcome to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to be talking about safely riding a bike.
So the big question is this: how are parents like us, who don't have a manual, who are doing the best we can, who feel as though we aren't enough, how are we going to raise healthy, happy children who we are proud of and still keep our sanity in that process? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Ryan Roy, and welcome to I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, a podcast for parents who are being real with themselves.
Hello and welcome back to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to be talking about how you can safely ride a bike or teach your kid to safely ride a bike. This is actually hilarious that I am doing this episode. I'm going to tell you why. I have a son that turns 8 here in about 2 weeks now, and he does not know how to ride a bicycle. Dad, what's wrong with you? How do you not teach your kid how to ride a bike? My son has had bikes since he was 4. He had the training wheels. He enjoyed that. We would go out pretty often. I was like, man, this kid is going to be awesome. I can't wait to pull these training wheels off. And when the training wheels came off and he fell a few times, he wanted nothing to do with it. And it got to a point where he doesn't want to go. I'm not going to force him to do something that he does not want to do. Maybe he just wasn't coordinated enough. Maybe he wasn't comfortable enough. I don't know what it was, but the boy just did not want to get on the bike and fall. And I explained to him, I don't know about you guys out there, but I know when I got on a bike and I got my training wheels off, I spent 3 days. I remember 3 full days falling. It was the middle of summer. I was probably about 5, maybe 6 years old, probably 5. And I just remember falling an awful lot. Now, there was an area that was flat. It had grass, and I wasn't crazy enough to be on the sidewalk and fall, hundreds of times. But I did fall hundreds of times. And in life, we must fail before we succeed. Nobody's going to go out there and, when you think of them, right now running through my head is different athletes and different things like motocross. Those guys go over those huge ramps. How many times did they go over a small ramp first and get comfortable with that? But how many times did they fall? Or how many times did they just get really good at a smaller ramp before they went to a little bit bigger ramp and got comfortable with that? Think about gymnastics and how those people tumble and their body moves in directions that just isn't normal to the average person. But how many times did they fall or land awkwardly in order to be able to make that look easy? And riding a bike and a lot of other things are no different. And I share with my son that I fell for 3 days. You fell maybe 10 times and you just don't want to get on the bike. And I'm not forcing anybody to do anything they don't want to do. I don't want him to resent me for teaching him how to ride a bike. But I'll tell you something. Yesterday, I just did a Boy Scouts episode. At the Boy Scouts event, when they introduced, they're like, hey, there will be bike excursions where the kids all kind of ride bikes together. And my son saw that. And he's like, Dad, I need to learn how to ride a bike. I said, that's fantastic. You're ready to do it? He says, yeah. So we got his helmet out. We got the bike. I didn't have time. It was kind of unexpected. The tires are flat. They've been in the garage so long that the tires are flat. So I told him this evening, tonight, when he gets out of school, this afternoon really, Daddy will have the tires fixed. They'll be ready to go. And he actually has 2 bikes, and he gets to choose which one he wants to learn on and which one he wants to practice on. And I'm kind of excited. So again, a couple years ago when he went through this challenge, I went to YouTube. I'm like, nobody taught me how to ride a bike. I don't know how to teach somebody how to ride a bike. And in one of my early episodes of this, in chapter 1 of my book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, is educate, educate, educate. And one of the ways that you can educate is to go into YouTube. So I went, what's the best bike riding practices to teach a kid how to do so? And there were kids learning how to ride a bike within minutes. And their strategy, I would suggest you do, the strategy is to actually take the pedals off, raise the seat to a point where they're on their tippy toes, where they're just balancing on their tippy toes and learning that balance where they still are using their legs like kickstands, but they're so high up that they really must balance the bike itself with barely touching the ground. And you see kids getting really comfortable with balancing the bike and turning the wheels, that soon afterwards, we're talking 10, maybe 15 minutes, kids are off actually riding the bike because they got a sense of that balance. So tonight, guess what I'm going to do? We're going to take those pedals off. We're going to let him learn his balance. We're going to get his helmet on. And hopefully we're going to learn how to ride a bike. And I think he's excited to do so. See, now he's ready. So I titled this, How Do You Safely Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike? Or How Do You Safely Ride a Bike? We'll have the equipment, right? Make sure you have the helmet. I grew up without a helmet. And I was like, man, does he really need to wear a helmet? Yeah, because he can't stay on the bike. And he's my kid and one of the most precious things in the world to me. So although I never wore a helmet and I don't personally like wearing helmets, doesn't mean I don't want my kid to be protected. If it's all he knows, he'll be fine. But more importantly, I think the way we safely teach kids to do things is when they say that they are ready. Now, we could push them out of their comfort zone in a lot of ways, but in something where they could get hurt or they don't feel confident, why don't we just wait till they're ready? And he is ready. He's asking to learn how to ride the bike. Part of it is, and I know it is that his friends all know how to ride bikes, and he may be put in a position that he has to learn. He actually asked me yesterday, he's like, do any of the other kids have training wheels? I was like, I don't really know. If you want to put your training wheels on, you can, if that's what makes you feel comfortable. And he said, no, I'm going to learn without. I can learn. So he's at a point where he wants to learn, where I'm not asking him to do it. I'm not telling him to do it. It's when he's comfortable and his friends are going to be around and he wants to be able to do what his friends do, right? So that's, in my opinion, how you can safely ride a bike. I will be honest and transparent, dads. Listen, it's like, how does my 7, almost 8-year-old not know how to ride a bike? I mean, that's like one of the most basic things I think we could do physically as a parent, is to teach them to do this. But how do you teach them to do something that they don't want to do? How do you teach them to do something that they're resisting? You got to make it as comfortable as possible so that when it is time for them to do it, they're comfortable enough to come to you and say, Dad, I'm ready. Let's do this. See, he doesn't resent me whatsoever. That's a big fear of mine, is my son to resent me. Look, I don't know jack about parenting, but I know, and anybody tries to force me to do anything, it just doesn't get done. So why would I want to put that same thing on my children? So do it when they're ready. They'll let you know. And there will be times when they say they're not ready and you know they're ready, and you could push a little harder then. But baby steps. He's not going to go off to college not knowing how to ride a bike. In his time, when he's comfortable, he's going to learn how to do this. And I suggest, in a lot of ways, you take the cues from your kids too. We'll talk to you in the next episode.
Do you want to be the dad you wish you had? If so, go get my free book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com. Inside, you'll find my most effective 40 tips to quickly and easily transform yourself into the ideal dad. Go to BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com now and get it while it's free.